Hey. It's Tim Gillette here, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the broadcast over here. And, we're over here on the Tim Gillette page. If you're coming over from the preview, we did a preview over on the other page, which is something that I'm always learning to develop and change my business. Because, all right, if you're not aware of the fact, change happens. All right? If you're over here, it's because I'm changing the format of how I do things to then build continuing. And I want to tell you guys, today's broadcast is about what if the rules change. As you can see, over the last week, I've been in Pennsylvania. Was up there trying to help my mom sell her house and visiting some friends, which I got to visit a childhood friend that I have not seen. I visited two old friends, and one of them was my friend Jennifer. She's actually, if you go onto my personal page right now, the picture's me and Jennifer. Jennifer and I have not sat in a room together since about 1983, I think. I think it was the last, may have been 85 was the last time we sat in a room together. And we were able to sit and see each other for a brief moment in time at the King of Prussia Mall. So that happened. Number two was, while I was there, one of my high school best friends, Jim, lost his mom and dad over the last couple months. And I sent a card when his dad passed away, but his mom passed away while I was in Pennsylvania. So I'm like, I'm here. I'm going to go out of my way, about 25 miles, 30 miles out of my way in my travels to be able to go down and just stop by and say hi. And it blew his mind as well as mine. I actually got to sit and talk with him and hang out in a garage that him and I used to actually fix cars in. So it was kind of unique to do that. But change. Our world's changing, guys. All right, drastically changing. All right, and I seen a post a couple weeks ago that really started me thinking along these lines. And what it was is it's a platform out there in the blogging world that said, hey, blogs don't work anymore. All right, try this instead. And I'm not going to quote the platform, but the concept behind it was trying to build a subscription base model for your blogs. And I like it, all right, and I agree with it to a point. But part of it was, how are we adapting to the change? Because so many people, all right, who are going to try to go with that model that these people are doing, they're going to go down this road because someone new is saying, hey, things are changing. You should do this to help fix the change. You should do this to bypass the cycle. You should do this to whatever. I've always believed in and always have broadcast and have put in my blogs, my teachings, my blogging courses, even my in-house trainings that I do here in Dallas, Texas, talking about the very concept out there of change, all right, and how we adapt to creating content. And I had just a mind blank where I went off and went, and my mind went blank for a moment. Forgive me while I get back on track. So anyway, the idea here of change and coming out in this industry and talking about the concept of creating content, all right, building a blog, building an online portal of information to build leads for your business. And a couple years ago we had Blab, and I have always said, by the way, and I'll say this because I've seen it, and I think I've heard Mark Kay say it. I believe I've heard Gary said this. Many people I've heard say, Joel, I think I've started, Chris Brogan, I think I've heard say this, but there's 4 things that go into the content creation process. Number 1 is you create content. You got to create content in order to get people to come to your page to find out who you are, to see what you're doing, which is what I'm doing right now. I'm creating content. Number 2, you've got to find a way to market to get the people to read the content. You've got to get readers' eyes on the content you're creating. All right, but that's not just it. And then from there, you actually got to go into what we call creating community. Creating community is now you're building people who like, know, and trust you enough that they want to come back to see your content, or they want to come back and get more fed from you, and eventually that we can lead them to the 4th and final piece of that circle, and that is monetizing your whole process. And you see, a lot of people out there have taught over the years all the stuff that has changed in the social media realm over the past 15 years or so, or even 10, we are trying to bypass things in the chain. We are trying to go from create content to monetize content. Doing away with actually marketing and doing away with actually building community. We want to just monetize, and we're trying to find a way to monetize. And so many coaches and content creators and mentors who are online are doing exactly that, teaching you how to bypass the system. They've got you just believing that you don't need all this stuff anymore. You can just do it in social media. And in 2010, when I started this, and I started a blog, and I had a lot of people who were social media gurus or social media marketers or social media trainers, social media people, they all said to me, "Oh, Tim, you don't need a website anymore. You can do this all on social media." And to date, since 2010, 8 of those people who told me that are now working jobs for other people doing something in marketing, and they don't have a sustainable business. Whereas they tried to bypass the actual circle of how things work. Hey, Lexi Jones, thanks for joining. So bypassing things and trying to make shortcuts is what all of these marketers are coming out and doing. Is why I prompted today's question is, if the rules changed, now what? You see, because so many people have come to rely on the marketing, and I have seen more people, I want to say over 20 to 30 people teach on Facebook ads and how to build your business. Not saying it's not great, but I've seen so many people teach it, and 90% of them all are very similar. There's very not difference between each one of their teachings. But the concept is, it now, all right, with this privacy stuff, and apparently, there's some stuff where information was sold, and Mark Zuckerberg being in Washington, D.C., that the concept is now coming up where people are going, what if changes happen to Facebook? Now it may become more difficult. Many people, they rely on these free platforms or free ways to get out their stuff, and they end up failing, which is why we come up with today's questions is on change. Because so often I think we get into the change, we don't really adapt to the fact that the world could change. And the way that we actually get leads for our business could change drastically because someone's policies or privacy policy or someone's user agreement changes, and now the things that we were going, all right, you can't do it. So imagine, all right, and I'm going to use this, and I know some of you are going to get offended about it, all right, everything is. If you're someone who sells guns, you can't just go on Craigslist and sell them. They don't allow it. It's their user agreement says we don't allow people promoting guns or selling gun products. And if you want to sell guns, that is not the place you go. So if you see that and you go out and watch that, then you actually see that there can be changes, all right, that adapt to your business, where all of a sudden now the place you were trying to use to get your marketing is gone because the company that you were using changed their user agreement. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go into these 4 questions that I mentioned in the preview video, if some of you seen, and we're going to go into a little more depth into them. The 4 questions I asked them there was, what if the rules changed on the way you get lead sources? All right. Number 2 is, do you think there could ever be someone who could build a platform to replace Facebook as #1 slot? 3rd question was, if you are #1 in your industry, which is something we teach you should be, what are you doing to adapt to make sure you stay the leader in your industry? And number 4 is, how are you adapting to change when change happens? So let's talk about this a little bit here today. Let's go to the first one here. What if the rules changed on your lead source? Again, all right, some of you who met me in live streaming met me with Blab. Blab was a great tool when we had it, and I had so many people talk about, well, I don't need a web. I remember them, all right, on Facebook, or on Blab. I don't need a web page. I don't need this. You don't need a web page anymore. You can do everything on social media. You can do it on Blab. What do you need at? Which is the same thing that so many people have done with podcasts over the years. Well, I got this with the podcast, and I've got no place to send them. I don't need it. I got people who are subscribed on iTunes, and I can sell advertising, and I'm all good until the rules changed. When rules start changing, and now it takes away from your platform, and you've got to go rebuild. Well, there's 3 things that I've always talked about in this. Number 2, in this question is, number 1, you always need to be list building. You always need to be list building. All right. My friend Casey Everhart, a very good friend of mine, actually always has some of his broadcasts, so I'm not going to tell you this, is he always tells his people that you need to have a way to actually know what your content is doing. And he tells you the three types. He tells you the three types, and I'm not going to give them on this broadcast because that's Casey Everhart's information. All right, if you want, go follow Casey, find out what it is. But there's three types of content you need to be creating every time you do it. And the biggest thing that he talks about doing for most people when they're doing a live video is to build a subscriber base. One of the reasons why I did this today, I did a preview on my personal page and said, hey, you got to come over here and subscribe to make sure you're part of the Tim Gillette Rocks page to be able to get this. Hello. When you actually are a part of the list, I've got you now over to a different area. Why? I wanted to take you to a more in-depth layer. All right? I'm going to do this from now on where I'm only going to give the little bit stuff over there to get you to come over here. And then I'm going to do this here to get you to go subscribe to my list for the more in-depth stuff. And guess what? Every step of the way, just like what do they call that? Just like a funnel, you actually help your clients more and more the more in-depth they get with you. So list building. Number 2 is you've got to be building relationships. Building relationships. So I have a friend who actually has a business, and her advertising platform, all right, cut off the advertising that she was allowed to do because of rule changes, which made me think about this. And when it came to rule changes, I had to think about it for a little bit, and I'm like, why did that change to that? All right, we're going to hopefully still be on this. But anyway, when it came to the rule changes, it adapted and messed up her platform. The first thing she did was text me and said, hey, Tim, I just want to make sure you got my number because the platform where you found my advertisement is no longer allowing me to advertise because of the services that I provide. They decided they did not want to advertise them on that platform. So her ad source, where she was getting leads for her business, has now been taken away. And if she did not build a relationship with me to provide a service and product that I need on a regular basis, all right, I would not have a way to recommunicate with her. So, hey, Coach Jenny's in the room. So now I'm able to connect with her because we had text. We became a client, and as a client, she immediately we got each other's phone numbers. So then she texted me to say, hey, make sure and I said, yep, I got your information. I'm still doing business with you. Yes, I'm going to be a regular customer. I'm going to come by and see you for my product and stuff on a regular basis. But imagine now if she didn't do that. She didn't build a list with me and get people's names and numbers, and the platform now being gone, she cannot get it. She cannot get in touch with me because of the fact that she can no longer advertise on the platform where I first seen her advertisement. So, I mean, that is where, it's important. She built a relationship, so it goes. And number 3 in this, all right, the rules changed on your lead source. Well, what is the things you need to do? Number 3, you always need to be giving value. Coach Jenny and Lexi are 2 people who left comments here today so far. I know all of you are just loving this and making comments for it, and then you will later on. But Lexi, great person on giving value. I've watched Lexi for a long time because Lexi and I connected through Shelly Rice, who was on the other broadcast. Not sure if Shelly's here or not. But Shelly has always given me great value. Really great value that Shelly has given me. So what that means is when Shelly said, hey, Tim, this girl Lexi is coming to your town, and I think the 2 of you should meet. I said, okay. I didn't question it. I trust Shelly Rice that much, all right, that she has always given me value, that if Shelly Rice says I need to do something, I need to go do it. That is where you give such great value that when people recommend, you go, okay, I got to go see this person. Coach Jenny is another great example. Coach Jenny and I, we've known each other from Blab, never met each other in person, all right, but I speak highly of Coach Jenny when we go places. So Coach Jenny then goes to different things. When I go to different things and I speak about stuff, I actually use examples from Coach Jenny. Why? Because Jenny has given me value in my life, and I hope I've given value to her. If not, we used to harass each other, used to mess with each other all the time, and it's great friendship. All right, and we have gotten to that place because we always give each other value. All right, and we've built this relationship, as I said in number 2, that we're like this, all right? We're snugging each other as friends. Jenny and I may not see each other on a daily basis, but when I see Jenny, it'll just be like my friend on there that I took the picture with. It's on my Facebook profile, that when I see her, it's going to be that in-depth, okay, great to hug, just like I did with my friend Jim. Great to hug. It's been a long time. So glad to see you. Value was built in that relationship a long time ago. Those are the three things. If the rules change, if you've got those three things: number one, a list; number two, relationship built; number three, giving value in the relationship. So let's move on to our second question. Do you think that we could ever build something that would replace Facebook? Do you think we could ever build something that replaces Facebook? So, and I've got 3 points in this as well. Number 1 point, do you remember America Online? They used to send you a book, and inside the book popped out this little thing that said, hey, why don't you try this out? Go plug this disc, CD into your computer and get America Online so you can get connected to the internet. Is America Online even in business anymore? I don't think so. I think they're gone. All right? It's mind-blowing that, that was something that was in the past. America Online was the leader at getting people online. It is not a leader in connecting people anymore. Facebook is now the leader. A couple years ago, when we actually talk about the concept of live streaming, we were talking about, I think most of the people were on Meerkat, which it was before my time. I did Periscope some, but a lot of people really took Periscope to another level. And then Blab came out, and really people went Blab. Blab closed down. Some people are still doing Periscopes, but a lot of people are doing Facebook Lives, and they're using all kinds of other platforms now, because now the platforms they do it on, they can own it, and they're not fully relying on one source to get their stuff out. So could something replace Facebook? All right? Yes. AOL did it, so you could have it too. Number two, I want to think in that idea of, could something actually replace Facebook? I want you to think and remember, what was the search engine that you first used when you got on the internet? Right now, Google's the top search engine. No ands, ifs, or buts. But I didn't start using Google till about 4 years ago. I used Yahoo for years. Before Yahoo, I think it was Lycos I used. I used an AOL one when I first got online. You see, things have changed. All right? And Google is now the number one. Google, number one. Facebook right now is number one, but could someone change? Which takes us to number three. Remember MySpace and Friendster. MySpace was a cool idea. Netscape, there's another one, Jenny. Yeah, Netscape. Oh my God, I remember Netscape. That was a long time ago. But, MySpace and Friendster. I got on MySpace, and I thought it was one of the coolest things. A friend of mine he's a Christian guy, and he created a Christian version of MySpace. And it was one of the most unique things out there, and MySpace went by the wayside. It was a cool idea when it was out there, but it wasn't monetized in the format that would take it long term. Facebook came out and built and built and built, just like we're talking about this concept. They built a network, they built a list, they built the groups and quality of people out there, and they had so many relationships built through their platform, all right, and they had ways to give value through the platform before they ever monetized. Think about that. Most of us could not run our business for years without making a profit before it monetized like Facebook did. That is why Facebook is the leader. Does that mean that someone couldn't change? Someone could come out and change that. It can still be done in America today. I know many of you believe that, oh man, nobody can beat the top. Yeah, it can. All right? Every year, all right, in any sport that's a major sport, we see a new top every year. So if a new top can be created, all it takes is someone sitting in their basement doing it. And I have a friend right now, and I'm not going to mention her product or her service. I'm going to say it is a female friend. All right, and I did a broadcast on a lot last week or the week before, and I talked about the concept that, really she should be reaching out to Shark Tank. All right, she should be hiring a celebrity to use her product or service. If she did those two things, which are costly, she's a $1 billion idea. Most of us are out there with our ideas. The $1 billion ideas are sitting in closets, and people are not afraid to get out there. Now, I say that idea concept with MySpace because I mentioned Friendster, because Even if you asked Sean Parker in the early days, Sean Parker, who was the beginning, I think, president, first, one of the, other than Mark Zuckerberg, was the leading president of Facebook in the early days, said Friendster was going to be the biggest one. And Friendster is gone. Just like many people come out and go, okay, in the live streaming realm, Meerkat, gone. Blab, gone. The platforms that come out, they're gone. And some things that people thought were going to be the leaders can be all gone. So do you think a number 2 could be out there? It could. Why aren't you looking for it? Why aren't you creating? Change is going to happen. Why aren't you looking to better the place you are? Number 3. So let's take that from number 1 in Facebook platform and number 1 in your business, which is what we teach at our company here. Is we're helping people. We teach blogging, we teach personal branding, and we do it in the way that we help every client that comes into my program. They come in with the concept that we want to find a way to put them up as the leader in their industry. That means, I'm going to use it for the fact that I've had 3 people come through my program, and all 3 of them were holistic or health coaches. And we just branded them or positioned them. Positioning and branding go hand in hand. They don't work side by side. Positioned them to be something just a little bit different that was them. It used their personal story to help people. And then took their personal story, related it to someone to help them in the same aspect. They're all still holistic health coaches. But they don't tell you when you walk up to them in a networking function, yeah, I'm a health coach. No, they actually put themselves out as a different thing. We all should be leaders. But if you are a leader, I use blogging and personal branding. And my concept behind blogging is creating content that sets you apart as the personal brand and leader in your industry. I've been doing that for a long time. So, if you're number 1 in your industry, which you should be based on what I just said, who is out there that could be your number 2 right now? The most famous thing Zig Ziglar ever told me was, Tim, you'd really suck at being Zig Ziglar, but you'd make a pretty darn good Tim Gillette. Was you've got to be unique. What are you doing, all right, to keep you as the leader? What are you doing to always be refining the tools, always be making it different? So I've got 3 things I want to do. Number 1, you need to always be list building. Number 2, I mentioned list building, so I'm not going to go through it again. Number 2, you always need to be upping your game. Always need to be upping your game. Always need to be upping your game. Did I say it enough times for you? Always upping your game. All right? I know people who are out there that have created a product or service, and they are still on the speaking service, selling that same product and service, selling the same book they started with, and they've not created something new. You see, you need to always be developing and making it better. I have a process for always making things better. All right, just so you know, this was the workbook from one of my boot camps I did many years ago. And right now I have, these are projects that I'm working on. Just I want to see if I can actually show you guys. That's the thing, notepad book. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 folders in there. Always be upping your game. We're still within blogging. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 areas that I'm trying to always be refining and making how I help people with a blog and brand better. All right? Some of those products aren't ready for release yet. Some of them I'm refining. Some of them are products that I already have out there that I'm changing and offering them. Maybe one of the products that I've offered and done for years for free, like a speech that I've done, has been turned into a whole online presentation, and I actually have a whole way that you get into my lead form that you can actually go see the whole presentation. You don't even have to meet me at a live function anymore. I actually recorded it. I've put it up on screen, and I put it up there because it was a training. It wasn't just a sales presentation. It was a training. And now that I've changed my training platform, I leave the old training up there for people to see. Always be creating something new. Number 3 is, what do you do to offer current, past clients value? What are you doing to offer your current and past customers value? When I started Rock Around Your Blog, I had no clue how I was going to build a blogging platform on this concept. I really didn't. I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I wanted to be different. Because all I knew is I wanted to find something different, and blogging was just what made me work. So I went out and go, how on earth can I make this work? All right? And when I started that, the first thing I knew to do was, and I've seen other platforms do this, was I went out and offered my product to anybody and everybody who bought. They get all the updates on what I'm doing in Rock Around Your Blog for life. For life. All right? Not kidding on that. All of those 20-some folders I showed you, those people who bought in originally at $297 and $197, when that program comes out, they get it automatically. And that doesn't mean that I don't have an upsell process. I do have a funnel process, and I'll get into that in the next one. I do. But if you bought into Rock Around Your Blog, and now we do a concept in the Rock Around Your Blog called Write Your Way to the Top. And that is included. Kickstart Your Blog was another thing. That is included. All of those things are included. So like if you ever see me speak, and I offer the package for $497, and I very rarely offer it. I think it's $497 and $997 now. And you get to get all the updates that as new and improved. All right, you get them all for life. You get to come back to attend our workshops for life. All right, and we're not going to be offering it for much longer, but it's something I always do to offer value to my current and past clients. So if you bought into that, you get that value. Most people won't have the guts to do something like that. You see, what that does is that builds you a loyal following, all right, and takes that process, as I said in the beginning. Create content, find people to read content, create community, monetize community. That takes it, and I keep building community. All right, always keep building community. Believe it or not, I do have other products and services I can sell them, but I actually put everything in to the blogging category, and they never have to worry about when they see me do a whole new speech on blogging to get the updates. They get them automatically. Now, that doesn't mean if I print a new book, they don't get the new book. But if I create it into a platform where it is online, I put it in a portal where they get it for free. It's like they bought a membership for free for life. It's put on my online portal. They get added to that. They always get added to that. Anything that gets put in there, they just get access. They get an email and said, hey, this is the new product. It's there for you. You don't have to pay for it. It's already included in the package you bought. That is adding value to people to make sure you stay number one in your industry. Just something to think about. So I want to go to the last question I had on here, number 4, and I want to talk about how are you adapting to change. And I have 6 quick things. 6 quick things to remember onto it is number 1, I've said it a million times on this broadcast today, always be building a list. Number 2, always be creating new things. Number 3, never rely on one source to build your business. Never rely on one source to build your business. Number 4, watch the trends, but don't always get caught up in new trends. I'm going to go off onto that one here in a little tangent for a bit because I see a lot of people when I was on Blab that when Snapchat come out, they went over this way, and then they went to this way with this product come out, and they were always chasing new trends. They never got any footing in anything because they were chasing the new trends. For years, I'm going to tell you, for years, I never bought the most up-to-date phone. I always bought the last version, and right now I have an iPhone 7. My wife has an iPhone 8, all right, because I don't always buy the newest and greatest products. Just because something new came out does not mean I need to go get it. A lot of the tools I have to run this, I have an older microphone. I just bought it brand new. I did not go out and buy the newest, latest, greatest microphone to run my broadcast with. I have an older light system. I bought it brand new, but I didn't buy the latest and greatest, newest light because that latest and greatest is going to change next month. Just like your software, anything you get, the latest and greatest always becomes a changing process. And if you're going to adapt to change, you need to build a monetization process that works for you before you just try to, okay, well, I'm going to change everything I do again and go over here. And in this case here, where we're talking about platforms like Facebook or anything we do that builds your lead source in, the newest and greatest isn't going to be on it. Snapchat may become the next Facebook. Think about it. It could happen. It really could happen. It could replace everything. We don't know that for a fact. We don't know what's going to come out there. So don't get caught up in the trends just because it's a hot topic today and jump from one hot topic to the next hot topic to the next one. I'm just waiting the same way. Yeah, I just old stuff. So always be watching what the trends are doing, but don't get caught up into, I've got to have the latest and greatest. My truck's 2 years old. My motorcycle's 4 years old. All right, my phone is 2 years old. My iPad is 2 years old. All right, I have not the newest version, but the last version of the iMac or the MacBook Pro. I don't always have to have the latest version when it comes out. All right, and I'm not a social media blogging person who talks about the latest and greatest trends, because the latest and greatest trends, what they do is they make the influencer very wealthy, while the person who keeps trying trend after trend after trend, he spends his money and becomes very poor. I want to help you build a business system, is what I do with my clients, not help you buy the newest thing to put an extra $20 in my pocket. So let's move on to that one. Number 5, give more value than they pay for. Give more value than they pay for. I'm going to tell you a quick story on this. My friend Brian Kennedy actually introduced me at my 2015 or 2014 boot camp. All right, he came in where usually it's always my daughter. When I do a boot camp, my daughter's there. My daughter's the person who introduces me and brings me on stage for the very first time. Well, Brian Kennedy happened to be in town, and my daughter was okay with the fact that Brian Kennedy did it. Brian Kennedy was a gentleman who, when I sold my car business many, many years ago, and then lost my money, I took a job that I ended up losing everything, and I'd be going bankrupt. Brian Kennedy offered me a couch to sleep on. Literally, I slept on his couch. So Brian Kennedy came out and introduced me. And for the fact that this guy can testify to the fact that Tim was broke. No, he really knew how broke Tim was, and not like the speaker realm of, tell everybody how broke you were, all right, and how rich you are now. No, he surely testified to the fact that I was broke, and he shared the concept. All right, and when he did that, and relaying at the boot camp, he says, Tim Gillette talked about, living on a couch when he was broke. I own the couch. That is one of the most powerful things that you can ever have for me. Well, Brian said something about me in a video I watched, and he talked about the idea when I worked for Starbucks, about how I kept getting offered management positions. Because just because I was being paid, I think I was paid $7 an hour when I started, just to be honest with you guys, I was giving them far more value than $7 an hour. And so many people go into their job or whatever they're doing and go, well, I'm paid this much, that's as much work as I'm doing. I don't. I give more value than I'm being paid for, always. I'm there to do my best job. I don't care what I'm being paid. All right? Because of that, I live a smaller lifestyle. It's okay with that. Because I'd rather give my best value and only get paid half of it, all right, and leave that person in such awesomeness to go, okay, no matter what change happens, that person's always going to keep following me. And my computer just went blank on me. Oh my gosh, I had to switch it. That's weird. I'm always giving more value. And by doing that, no matter what the change happens, I still have a following. Remember that. And number 6, the last thing on here is remember the concept of the funnel. The funnel is, and I'm going to do this, funnel. See, funnel. Very top piece as I do this. And the funnel is the very top piece up here is people coming to you for free content. Here is a paid content or a list that they have to join. They have to do something to get into it. Number 3, the next thing down in there is they have to pay to get into a program you're doing. Then it's another program. And in the bottom, for me, I'm honest with you guys, is I've always told this when I do my speech. Everything I do has a thing. I am trying to fill my coaching program. I really am. That's what I'm trying to do. The first people who get into the coaching program or get into my list, they come in and subscribe to maybe my newsletter or subscribe like you guys did to my Facebook page. All right, they add themselves to a newsletter. Maybe then they'll attend a webinar of mine, attend a training of mine. All right, from there they find it and then they buy into my Rock Around Your Blog program, which goes anywhere from $4.95, all right, to $9.95, depending on where it's being sold and what extras are being given with it. Then from there, when you come to my live events, all right, right now I have it scheduled that I'm doing 8 of them a year, where I actually do the people who get into the Rock Around Your Blog program, 8 of them live, and they are never, ever, my live events are never, ever live stream broadcast. You have to be in attendance live to get the information. Is 8 times a year. I then offer my inner circle. All right. And literally my inner circle is, there is no change in price. All right. It is $297 a month. You can get in anytime you want. You get out of it anytime you want. $297 a month. And I offer all kinds of deals to get people into it. So $297 a month. And then I actually have a one-on-one coaching program. My one-on-one coaching program is 1 year. Once you get in the one-on-one coaching program, you go through it 1 year. And after you are done, you are done. And I'm telling people that because I help you do something in that 1 year. That's the whole purpose behind what I do. I help you do something for that 1 year to become successful, free, have a large on-time following, whatever it is. We help you do it in that 1 year. And then you're in the inner circle for life without paying for it. So, that's what I do. And everything along the lines is a funnel. Little by little, it's taking people to another level. Do I take people fresh the first time I meet them into my coaching program? Very rarely. I make them come through the funnel because I want them. Sometimes I meet people that are just a perfect fit for the coaching program. Everything else is nothing that they want to do. But the point is every level gives them more value. Every level costs them more money. Every level gives you everything from below. So if you get into the inner circle, you get all the other stuff. As long as you're in the inner circle. If you get into the coaching program, you're always getting the inner circle. If you get into my coaching program, you never have to pay for anything else I ever do ever again. You're in. After the 1 year, you're in and done. And that's a whole other ball game I don't want to go into right now. But anyway, I've done this broadcast to actually talk about today, if the rules change. I want you to think about your business as I close this out. If the rules change, are you prepared? Or you have a system down? Because some of the people who are going to get into my coaching program, due to changes in some of the ways that they can go out and market, have changed over the past 4 or 5 months. They can no longer market the way I would have helped them market. Had they come to me and joined the coaching program 3 months ago, I could have got them started on a way that would have a regular, consistent way of building their business and a consistent way of getting leads, a consistent way of getting content and getting people coming into their blog, coming into their coaching programs, things like that. They waited. And now when they come in, I have to come up with a whole other way to help them do it because the tools that I would have helped them do it, the tools are no longer accessible to them to build their business. In other words, change happens. So, before the social media world changes, are you going to take the action needed to get you to become more successful at what you do? Are you? If you watch this broadcast, do me a favor today. Just go ahead, hit the like, say, yes, Tim, thank you. All right. Tell me what you're going to change. I want you to put in the comments, all right, if you've watched it up until now, yes, Tim, I'm going to make the changes in my business, and just tell me what it is. Put it in the comments. I'd love to read it. I'm going to be reading through every comment on this over the next 2 days because I always follow up. And if you want to find out more about what I do and how I help people, by all means, all right, you can go to nottompetty.com or rockaroundyourblog.com. And what you're doing there, either one of those things will give you a sign-up page that you can get on what we call my newsletter. And you can get the notifications for when I do trainings that are like this, only more intense on a webinar platform where we can get into the point where we can actually do questions. All right, we have slides, things like that on there. That is one of the trainings I do. I do 2 kinds of trainings now. Number 1 is I do these that are turned into blogs. And number 2, I do trainings that are even more in-depth than this. So, sound good? Go to rockaroundyourblog.com, go to timgillette.com or nottompetty.com, and you can get my information, get on the newsletter, and I would love to see you on the other side. In the meantime, thanks for the thumbs up. Thanks for the hearts. I love you guys. I always appreciate a heart. Can I do heart? Can I do heart? There. Does that look like a heart to you guys? I'm trying. Thanks for the hearts. Thanks for the love. I love you guys, and I appreciate you all staying here for all 38 minutes of this today. And I hope you got some value from this. And I hope you actually are giving value to your audience. And I hope you're preparing in case things change for how you can do things. I'm Tim Gillette with timgillette.com, and I will see you next time.